Yesterday I was wandering through the 75 Chrome Shop parking lot, and I came across this green truck with some awesome green lights all lit up and everything. And I got to talking with the driver, and here we are out here on the highway. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name's Aaron Puterbaugh. I'm a company driver for PJ Brink Trucking out of Garrettson, South Dakota.
Very nice. Tell us about that truck there. What do you got?
It's a 2020 W900L. It's got a 565 with a Pittsburgh tuned 605, 2050 torque, 18 speed, 334 rear ends. But yeah, it's a nice ride for sure.
So in other words, badass rig.
Yeah, we did a full custom interior in it, custom stereo system in it, and we pulling a 2024 Redneck flatbed Conestoga.
Very nice. Like that other driver said, it certainly is a nice ride.
Sure it is. Beautiful.
Now, up there in South Dakota, that's a little ways away from Florida. So where do you normally go trucking at?
I normally run all 48 states. I really don't have a rhyme or reason where I go. I just kind of try to avoid the weather mostly. You know, if it's storming out west, I'll go out east. If it's storming out east, I go west and try to keep the truck out of bad weather if I can.
So you're just out here pinballing all across the country there, right?
Yeah, I've had this truck up in New York and out in Washington and California and pretty much all points in between.
Yeah, roger that. How long you been trucking for?
I've been driving over the road for the last 10 years. I've had a commercial driver's license since I was 18, so about 25 years now.
10-4. How many miles do you think you've put on in that span of time?
I know I got over probably about 1.5 million to close to 2 million.
Pretty respectable. Later, once we get to the chrome shop, or actually I'll insert a shot of what the interior looks like. I'm going to come over one. And but tell us about what you guys have done to the interior.
So we have an in-house stereo guy. His name's Jerry Johnson, a close friend of the owner, PJ. So they gutted the interior and pulled the couch out and custom made a bench and put 22 speakers and 4 amps in here and sound dampened everything, and there's 4 amps and about 4,000 watts. She makes the miles disappear for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, the truck looking the way it does that truck have a name?
Well, when I first started driving for PJ, the truck's name was Redneck Step Deck, and since I pull a Conestoga, we were trying to find a new name for it, and we're at a truck show back home in Huron, South Dakota, Wheel Jam last year, and just haven't quite named the truck yet, and the song Redneck Rockstar came on, and I was like, yep, there's the name for the truck. So we named it Redneck Rockstar because of the stereo system in it, and it's got a bunch of neon lights behind the speakers, and so it's a fitting name for the truck for sure.
That's cool. So in the span of time that you've been out here driving, what's the most important lesson that you've learned out here on the road?
Probably the lesson my dad gave me years ago. He said, "Don't tailgate." Yeah, I see so much tailgating out here. It's dangerous. I first started driving over the road, my dad told me, he goes, "All right, catch you tailgating, I'll kick your ass myself." Sorry, excuse my language, but yeah, that's probably the worst thing I see, that and cell phone use.
Yeah, without a doubt, keeping distance, having that reaction time, gosh, both for guys in a big truck and, for people in those four-wheelers. You never know what's up the road, so that's a pretty good lesson.
My dad drove for 40 plus years. My mom drove, and I grew up around, professional drivers, and I try to carry that into my career now,
All right, that's pretty good, having mom and pop being drivers. Tell us about that.
Dad spent 3.5 years in Vietnam and drove a truck over there, did heavy haul, and came back and to the States and got a job driving truck, and he met my mom. He had 3 girls when he met my mom, and my mom wanted to learn how to drive, and so my dad taught her how to drive. And so Grandpa would watch the older kids while I rode along with my mom and dad, and they ran produce for Brock Express out of Canyon Country, California, out to Hunts Point and Boston, and then back.
That's pretty cool to grow up with your mom and dad in the truck. That's pretty unique.
Yeah, it has its ups and downs, It gave me the love for trucking, and it's a hard life. I couldn't do it without family back home taking care of the kids and, the support system for sure.
That's one of the questions that I ask. Go ahead and tell us about your support system. Who do you got back home?
I'm married to my wife, Stephanie. We met, 16 years ago, and we have 6 kids together, and she puts up with me doing this for sure. I sacrifice a lot. I'm usually out for 3 weeks, and I'm home for 4 or 5 days, but she grew up around trucking too. Her dad drove, so she kind of understood it.
That is a sacrifice. She has her hands full at home, and you're out here keeping the wheels turning and bringing in the money.
Yeah, during the summer, I'll take one kid out on the truck at a time and try to do something fun with them. They get to go home or go to school the next school year, and they get to say, hey, I went out to Miami and spent the weekend there, went out to a beach, or went to California to an amusement park, or something like that. And it's nice to get that one-on-one time with them out here on the road and make it special.
Yeah, that's cool. Go ahead and take that right lane for a minute.
Definitely.
Let that white truck get by, and then I'll pop back over to the left.
Definitely.
So being out here for the time that you've been out here, what's one of the most important things that you feel a driver should have on their truck at all times?
I would probably say the CB radio. It's definitely saved my butt. Came up on an accident, or knew about it before I got up there. Other than that, winter survival gear. I'm big on being prepared for the elements. I see too many guys out here just walking around in flip-flops and everything else. It's like, what are you going to do if you break down and don't have no heat or anything?
Yeah, you're right about that. Being up there where you guys are from, North, South Dakota and everything else, it gets cold up there. Going back to CB radio, since you feel that's one of the most important things, what CB radio do you have there in that truck?
Well, we just got a Cobra Chrome in here. It's nothing real fancy. We just, haven't quite got to putting a better radio in here yet, but it works good enough to get a, early warning on things.
Yes, sir. I'm going to drop back. Go ahead and take that left lane, get around.
All right, 10-4.
With the way that trucking has evolved over the last 10 years, what do you think, or who do you think now is the best candidate to be a truck driver? Who can do this job?
I think young people that come out of the military, I think they're some of the best candidates. They're well disciplined, and I think they're used to, kind of being gone for over the road stuff. I think coming out of the military would be a good candidate.
Yeah, I never really thought about that, but you make a really valid point, or a couple of valid points. Discipline. That's one of the things that it takes. You got to be a self-starter out here to be able to get the truck ready, get yourself ready, plan your route and all that stuff. So, good point. Hadn't heard that one said yet.
And the only other thing is maybe doing a mentorship instead of just 8 weeks of schooling. Start them at 18 and be like, okay, well, you got to do a year with a trainer or mentor. I feel that they don't quite get enough training out here for what they face.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. You're pulling at Curtainside, Conestoga now. What else have you pulled? Well, what other types of trailers have you pulled?
Mostly open deck. I did some flatbed work, and then I drove local for 16 years, so did Conestoga for 5-6 years local, and then worked for a rendering company running end dumps and tanker for them. But yeah, most of my career's been open deck.
All right. That leads me to my next question. What's been the worst load that you've ever pulled? You mentioned rendering company, and my mind just went haywire.
Yeah, that was kind of the nastiest job I've ever had. Yeah, definitely probably the worst.
Yeah, roger that. So my follow-up question is, what load you would never pull again? What do you think that would be?
I'm not a big fan of, van loads that go into Conestoga. I try to steer clear of that, hauled garage door springs. That was kind of a nightmare load, but yeah, I'd probably do it again. I don't know, I'm kind of stupid that way, I guess.
Why were garage door springs a nightmare load?
They're on a 2-foot pallet, and there was probably 30 freaking pallets in there stacked on top of each other, and it didn't ride very well. Straps kept coming loose and kept moving around, so it was hard to get them to secure right. It was breaking pallets, and it just wasn't a very good load.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So for the time that you've been out here, do you have any trucking regrets? Anything that you will do different?
No, not for trucking wise. I guess as far as career wise, no, I mean, maybe missing some of the birthdays and stuff like that. I kind of regret being gone so much. That's kind of part of the reason why I came over here, a little bit more home time.
10-4. I respect that. Let's double back. Let's change gears, actually. Let's change gears for a second. Tell me about the company, the history of the company. What's going on over there?
Oh, the owner of the company, he owned a construction company. He did foundation work for bridges and substations. And one day he decided to sell it and do a life change and get healthy. He was overweight, and so he just was stressed out with that career and sold it all and bought a truck. And then met me at a truck show there in Sioux Falls at Convoy for Special Olympics, and we became friends, and he asked me to come and drive one of 3 show trucks he built and help him make a name for ourselves out here, I guess. We're kind of the new kids on the block, and it's just have some fun, friends working together and just trying to have fun.
Well, that's cool. How long has he had the trucking company for?
He started it about 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. He was just one truck, just part-time hobby trucker, and then I came here, been here a year for him. I'm the only employee he's got. He's got an owner-operator that works for us. and we're just out here trying to have some fun.
Well, it looks like you guys are doing a good job at it.
Yeah, I thought he was a bit crazy when he asked me to come and work for him and run these trucks. They're pretty nice trucks. They definitely draw attention, and I try to do the best I can to mitigate things that happen out here on the road, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure he appreciates that. So, what's your claim to fame? What do people know you for?
Well, I guess probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I was driving for long haul trucking out of Albertville, Minnesota. And they did a TV show, King of the Road, and I was in that, me and my family and stuff. I guess that was my 15 minutes of fame in there.
Speaking of TV and watching things trucking related, what sort of trucking content do you watch now? We'll exclude big rig videos or anything like that, but what do you find yourself watching?
I guess mostly TikToks. I mean, there's a big trucking community in TikTok and Facebook, but I don't know. I didn't never get into watching like Shipping Wars or any of that stuff. Kind of old school, like Smokey and the Bandit and White Line Fever and Blue Meal and all that, you know.
I think I'll throw 1 or 2 more questions at you as we line up for this State Road 44 ramp. When it comes to educational resources, what would you recommend to a person if they wanted to get into the business? What do they need to be studying outside of the standard, CDL book?
I guess just talk to people. I mean, talk to drivers and get feedback from other drivers in the industry, and have an open mind to things. I've gotten, good friends that gave me some really good advice over the years. I guess that's my advice to people. Just have a open mind to things.
Yeah, I was talking to someone last week, a driver that I met randomly here on the highway, and that's what he said. Talk to older folks, older guys that have been out here for years. They're a walking encyclopedia. They've probably done it all.
Anymore with all the technology, everybody's so inclusive. They just hang out in their trucks and they don't socialize with anybody. And I don't know. I miss the old days of trucking. Sit around and tell stories. That's kind of why I like truck shows so much. It kind of reminds me of the old school trucking.
Yes, sir. I got 1 more question to throw at you. I think we'll have a little bit of time here at this traffic light. When it comes to work-life balance, how do you, especially having the family that you have, how do you balance your work life?
Willing to give up money. A lot of guys, I think, don't go home because they don't want to give up money. Learn to live within your means and don't live beyond that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Know too many people that say, I can't go home because I can't afford to. I'll give up money and go home. I won't miss. There's some things I just won't miss.
Well, since you guys are down here for the 75 Chrome Shop truck show, why do you guys come down here to this show? What do you like about it?
I've been wanting to come down here for a couple years. I've been showing trucks for 5-6 years now. I started with long haul trucking, showing their truck for them, and I've always wanted to come down here to this one. We missed Matt's, and so I was like, hey, well, let's go around to Wildwood and have fun. I need a good truck show fix.
Yes, sir.
That's a good-looking KW, buddy. Real good-looking.
Thank you.
Well, Aaron, it's been fun burning some fuel there with you. Headed back up here to the show. I hope you enjoy your weekend up here. And we'll see you around the show.
together or something.
Yes, sir.